Hi, it's Joy, and I'm going to watching The Wild, Season 1, Episode 2, Day 2. I'm so excited to get back to this show. The first episode was phenomenal. I'm so excited to see what happens next to these girls. The ending was crazy, and I'm just excited. I don't want to wait longer. Let's go. A reminder that, as always, you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go. I'm slightly concerned that, like, where they are is going to still be within the organisation that did this to them, rather than actually in safety. Nora? What happens to Nora?
Twin thing.
Does Nora die?
It's like a foreign country.
No.
You can. I don't want to talk about what happened there.
What happens? I'm scared.
I do want to tell you our story.
1, 2, 3, 4, I declare someone.
No.
Bene, Papa.
God, she's a sponge for languages, isn't she?
Completely. Speaking of which,
Oh, so she used to feel.
Words and words?
words and words.
She used to feel not as good as her sister, or like because she wasn't as smart,
First word is
and then she grew up to feel less good because she wasn't as athletic.
Misu.
Surrounded by people, but still alone.
Yeah.
That's how I felt waking up in that place.
And your whole life.
They had someone to hold on to. I should have too. But I couldn't let go of the blame.
Oh.
I know it will be controversial.
Is that sending girls to a desert island? Is she the other agent?
Word came down from HQ.
Oh my goodness.
We move forward as planned.
Oh my goodness.
Don't. Not our job to moralize.
So he was on the plane too?
Needs to get to the field ASAP.
What is their mission? Is this what was intended to happen? A fake plane and that stranding on the island so they have to deal with it and grow as a person?
Landed at the drop point. The other
I'm
operative
so
was
excited. Oh, there is still another
Remember to cut the
operative.
water within 500.
I want answers so badly. I'm so excited to get them.
This is her second phone. The other one we lost out in the water, but this is an entirely different one.
Yep. Who here looks like they know what this means?
The one she chose not to tell us about. Jeanette wasn't just in shock, you know. She was dying.
She does see the good in people, and she doesn't.
She forgot. That could have been our only way out.
Everyone deals differently in extreme trauma.
You could have found it before it died, but you didn't, did you?
Blaming each other's not going to help anything, but I understand that she's not doing it on purpose. She's doing it because she's scared, and she's lashing out.
Just afraid. That was all hustle.
Trying to prove she was good enough for her family by being different, and she was good enough anyway.
Kills me to admit it, but that is the kind of physique that succeeds in this sport, and that they are short, compact bodies,
Oh my goodness.
itty-bitty pancake chests, and some kind of freakish genetic ability to pack on muscle and zero fat, and that is not
You are giving a child an eating disorder. Because she grew up and got a more womanly body.
There she is. My little Effie. That light that used to fall on others.
Some good news.
These parents can only lavish attention on one child at a time. Terrible.
So,
Big even Nora thing. Are you still looking forward to it? Hers isn't going anywhere. I want to be there too.
Nora's such a good sister.
Alright then.
So supportive. And the parents have 100% turned their attention from ignoring that kid to ignoring that kid. And putting too much pressure on them both. You need to push your children, but you need to push your children to be their best and not the best.
Jesus fucking Christ. You just watch a bunch of survival TV. Survivor.
Plus, it's just logical. You need to see what you have.
Better to mobilize than to elevate. So that's my bad, Martha. Okay, I really should have spun it yesterday.
I was just thinking of yesterday.
No.
FYI, I was a candy striper. The biggest obstacle to patient recovery was
Infection.
and negative energy.
Girls, stick together.
Your sister was acting like it. Jesus, I'm just joking.
Hey,
Sore spot.
I'm conducting. You reach.
Oh, this poor girl.
Now get out of my face.
You're on a desert island pulled
Look at you.
together.
Always standing in my fucking way.
Your memory is like lethally selective.
Mm-hmm. Is that why she feels she did everything she could to protect her afterwards and got them ended up being sent here because she feels guilty that she got her out of the hospital before she could be helped? What is that? Did she steal that, or does she think they're gonna steal it? I like them, they're like unusual friends.
Let's just say I've had a shitty few years.
Hard to fucking say.
I love the way these girls are bonding. And in other cases they are fracturing as hell, but I just...
Alright.
my heart's full for them.
I want to get to the top.
You're alright, right?
She's worried because she helped her get out of the hospital too soon.
Because
She just loves you so much. She would do anything for you.
I love you, Rach. I love you too.
My current suspects for who the other agent is are... oh my god, her name is running away from me. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Shelby. Shelby because she's so happy and okay with everything. And Nora because she maybe did it to try and help her sister out. I don't know who else it could be. Maybe there'll be more answers along the way, but... no. You just promised Nora.
Someone's coming for us, right?
Yeah, duh. You see how many
Yeah.
rich white girls there are on this island? Society will never crash. She's dead ass gonna drop you after this. Don't expect her to invite you down to fucking Dallas.
She's jealous.
Sorry, I'm just so scared out of my fucking mind.
I know.
She's scared, and it feels like her kind of her best friend and her lifeline is potentially getting closer to someone else, and that's scary. Hmm.
Okay, we are working with very different thresholds here.
Wow.
That's racist. No,
She meant because you're an athlete.
because you're like a world-class athlete.
chill. I'm kidding.
She's terrifying. You never know what to expect from her. I love how this show's doing a really good job because these girls aren't all acting perfectly. They're not all acting like angels and like best friends. They have their little moments, but at the heart of it all, they all have hearts of gold, and they're all, seemingly at least, wonderful people.
I said, we're almost there. Shit, the mirror.
Over her over the edge.
I can get it.
Someone grab her legs. Grab her legs.
I can see it.
It's right there. Get it?
No. Oh, Nora. Bless her cotton socks.
She realized that I don't always know what's best for myself.
Oh. Is she even gonna make it up the stairs? Is she just gonna belly flop? Which is not good from this height. Is there nothing as far as the eye can see? They are very alone. That is always my worst fear when I watch diving.
Nora, stop. Just don't touch me. Don't stay the fuck away from me, Nora.
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
These poor girls.
Context. Who did you?
Completely alone.
But that didn't materialize.
I think these people are in on it. I'm scared.
Did an intent.
She wasn't alone because Nora was there. Oh. Oh. Don't let anything happen to Nora. I don't want anything to happen to anybody.
A shift in the geography of the relationship.
They barely have a relationship.
Of course.
Are you using them as guinea pigs for some experiment?
Staring at these two faces has brought me back from the edge.
The edge of murdering children and torturing them? Who's the operative? She could not care less that anyone died. You don't have to be perfect all the time. Is she the operative, or is this random luck?
So much.
How do you say you're welcome in Native American?
In Ojibwe, it's Gawi Gago.
Okay. Yeah. That.
In Native American. I don't think Shelby's the agent, although Shelby being the one to find it. I think she just happened to find it first because she was watching her retainer thing. Oh. I hope. I'm scared that Nora died, so if she does, I hope they've patched things up before she does. This show is so annoying. Be good with how it teases you with things like that.
Arabian shrub.
She still feels not part of it. But the sporting world is cruel.
You remember my first invitation? That was the first time they've ever looked at me like that.
Too much to put on a kid.
Like the way that they always look at me. The way they look at me.
You know.
At least they're talking about this.
I'm gonna get back there, Nora.
Sweetheart, you
fucking great again.
are great regardless of diving, and they don't deserve you if all they care about is diving.
She was throwing herself in front of the world for me.
This story. The two of you.
I think they're
What
part.
if I ask her in?
I'm very frightened that they're part of the project, that they're getting their, like, end results. Okay.
Guess that's in your hands.
I don't know, that suggests Nora's not dead. Thank goodness.
It's true what they say.
Something happens to her, but...
That you can still feel
Oh no. Oh my goodness.
messages from I feel.
Nora's hand.
Holding them.
I love them so much.
Forever.
And now I'm scared again that Nora's dead. This show is fantastic. I love getting to see Rachel's story. My current fear / potential theory is that they're not actually somewhere like safe or in like a hospital or with the police or whatever, that they're still with the Daughters of Eve people, and that this is like the debrief at the end. Hopefully that's not the case, but I feel like that the sort of questions they're asking, it could be that kind of getting the end result of their experiment, but it also could just be like a psych eval debrief type thing. I really enjoyed getting to the core of who Rachel is and why she's as competitive as she is. That within her family she always felt like the outcast, and diving was being excellent at it was the thing that made her stand out. Sometimes even eclipsing her sister, but it was her thing and her parents finally noticed her. Now, that is the parents' fault for not helping Rachel to feel like even though she's a bit different, she still matters as much. But like I said, her parents aren't evil, they're doing their best, they don't realise they're doing that. They don't realise that there have been times where they've kind of pushed Nora aside a bit in order to be there for Rachel, but it's just brutal. And the way the coach was with Rachel was so wrong. From kind of just the like yelling at her about it, like A, she's a child, B, she's doing her best. If she went up to the diving board and was like, I can't bother today, then maybe you could be cross with her. And telling her that it was because all of the other divers were little and stick thin, and that she wasn't when she just was healthy, is ridiculous. I'm sorry, you watch the Olympics, there are divers of all shapes and sizes. Okay, not all shapes and sizes, but there are divers of the size Rachel was. God, I'd kill to have her body. And it just kills me that she was put in a point where she thought she had to do that to herself, that she thought that she wasn't doing anything wrong, she was just doing what it takes. And that is so true of so many people in sport and in other walks of life, where they're pushed and pushed to be something they're not. And I mean, to be honest, she should have told her parents about the conversation. They should have found her a different coach. And they also should have made sure her self-worth wasn't entirely relying upon diving, because even Olympic athletes, I know diving is all they do, but one day their careers will be over, whether someone younger and better comes along, whether they hurt themselves too much, whether they just get too old, they will have to move on to something else. And as a child, setting her up to diving or else is to fail. So I do understand why she was acting the way she did. Again, had I been there, I would have been annoyed with her, in the same way that some of like Shelby's obnoxious positiveness in the situation would be irritating. And like her snapping at everyone, I would just think, oh, get over yourself. But it was her reaction to the stress, her reaction to the fear of what was going on. The fear of helplessness, and she is someone that has liked to have control over her parents' affections through diving, control over her own body through her self-harming essentially, and now she has no control. And it seems as though Nora told them she was still ill or something, and so she blames Nora for losing the scholarship to Stanford or to be in the diving team and to being a diver. But I do think Nora probably did what was best for her in the long run, even if it doesn't seem that way right now, because like she said, Nora's just trying to protect her. I do want to get more of Nora's story, so things more from Nora's side, but I really enjoyed the fact that despite being rebuffed, despite being pushed back again and again, Nora stayed there for her sister. She kept turning up. She kept being there for her, being supportive, being like protecting her from the others. You getting like, that's one of those situations where you do not speak bad about my sister, and I love that. And I just, the fact that kind of when they got to the top, when she looked around and there was nothing and she was losing it, Nora was there for her despite her protesting, and that kind of let her back in. And she's not fully moved on from everything. She still wants to believe she can go back and dive and all that sort of process, that if they were picked up tomorrow, she'd still have a lot to work through. Clearly they're not picked up tomorrow and some terrible tragedy is going to happen to her. Oh, I'm scared something bad's going to happen to Nora. The fact that she said, that's up to you guys, isn't it? Scares me. Like, what does that mean? I feel like that's a very loaded statement. But I'm glad that they're in a better place now moving forwards. The other people that need to be in a better place moving forwards are Shelby. Well, Shelby's kind of just oblivious to it, although she does make a few digs at Tony and Martha, because they're obviously childhood best friends. They love each other. And I think in this situation, Tony feels like someone else has come along, a shiny new toy's come along, and that's all Martha cares more about Shelby than she does about her. Maybe that Shelby's, and the fact that Shelby can help her more with her ankle is kind of annoying to her. Probably even as well, Shelby's the kind of girl Tony hates, because she's that kind of fake blonde pageant girl who believes Jesus type of person who at school they'd have rolled their eyes at and been like, ugh, whoever, and the kind of girl that at their school would think they were better than them. Now, we know nothing about Shelby beyond what she's told us. We've yet to have her episode to delve into exactly who she was in her life. But being on the island, it's a sort of thing where, for one thing, Tony needs to realise that it's okay for Shelby to be there too. It's okay for Martha to have multiple avenues of support. They all need to be there for each other. And having someone there who's unfailingly optimistic will kind of help morale from completely crashing into the earth. Similarly, Shelby sometimes needs to realise when it's okay for Tony and Martha to just have best friend time, to just have time together, because they have that connection from the past and they care about each other, and every now and then let them be alone. All of these girls are children, they are teenagers, they have a lot to learn. They are all, to be honest, I think they are all handling this terrible situation very, very well. Leah, we didn't have as much of this episode, but obviously we had kind of her nearly leaping off a cliff to get the mirror because of sort of wanting to prove that she was good at, that she would try for things. I like that she went to try and talk to Rachel. She tried to apologise to her or to kind of explain herself after Rachel snapped at her, because she could have very easily been like, oh, bitch, and not done that. So I'm really glad that she did. And I think they will be closer because of it, as we saw at the end with them sitting there and talking. Shelby still, I think, needs to lose the kind of her looks being everything, whatever. I mean, she's stranded on a deserted island and she's still keeping in her retainer with her 2 teeth. And I just think my heart breaks for her, for what her life must have been. When we get her story, the pressure she'll have been under, I'm very intrigued to see what her story is. Now, right now, she seems like the most obvious candidate to be the operative, partly because she's so cheerful, partly because she was the one that was like, let's go look for water, and she's so knowledgeable at first aid and all that. She's the sort of person you might put there with knowledge, and she was the one that found the bag. But we saw that she was there away from the eyes of the others, so she could watch out her retainer thing that she didn't want them to see. So it seems as though she just found the bag first before whoever the operative is found it. I still think she, or actually no, oh yeah, I forgot, because she wasn't really in this episode overly much. Nora, Shelby, or her name Dot. Otherwise I think are the operative. Dot, potentially because maybe I know in America, like, the number of shows I've watched where people do things because they're offered money to help pay for medical bills. I feel like maybe that could be a thing with her. Shelby, like I said, just because she's so prepared and optimistic. And then Nora, just because I felt a bit less that it's Nora after this episode actually, but just it was kind of because maybe she did something extreme to try and help her sister. But now we have more of the story. I don't know if that tracks as much, but so it's probably Shelby or Dot, but Nora's still a possible suspect. I don't know. I don't think it's Leah just because she was so wrapped up in her breakup. I don't think it's Fatin just because of how she fell apart and the fact that in her suitcase there is not much that's useful. And then I don't think it's Tony or Martha, just I think the way both of them have reacted to everything, I don't think it's them. But I'm intrigued to find out more. I really am enjoying this sort of slow friendship between Fatim and Dot. I think what this is really showing is that those two girls who probably had they been at the same school would never have spoken to each other because, or would rarely have spoken to each other because they are such different people, and very much, especially in American schools, but even in English schools, you stick with your own kind. You don't talk to people that aren't the same as you as much. And it's really good to see kind of the way they're bonding with each other and forgiving each other when they do make mistakes and lash out. And it's also interesting to see where all the lines of tension are. But obviously, it seems as though this is a psychological experiment, so this is exactly what the Daughters of Eve want. I can't imagine this is what their parents thought they were signing up for, but part of me's like, was it? Some kind of crazy experience that would change their lives. I think it's too dangerous for that, but maybe they didn't sell it to them properly. I'm just so intrigued to see what the goal is here from the researchers, how they did it all, what went wrong with the crash and them leaving them all there, what they aim to get out of it, and how they're going to get away with it at the end. Are they going to kill them all and be like, oh, sad tragedy, the plane went down? I'm just so intrigued to find out what happened. I mean, there are so many questions. And seeing them that they're kind of on a base out of view but nearby is nice to know, but someone's already died on their watch. So yeah, this is a very, very good show. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction and all of my reactions on my Patreon, and thank you so, so much for watching.